President Trump is continuing with a wildly unpopular agenda. The Hill reports President Trump on Thursday signed legislation ending a key Obama administration coal mining rule. The bill quashes the Office of Surface Mining's Stream Protection Rule, a regulation to protect waterways from coal mining waste that officials finalized in December. All right. If there was ever any doubt that at this point Trump is the establishment and he's doing the bidding of the corporations, that should be gone now. Because if you poll people on this, my guess is you'd get over 80% of the American people going, "What? That's ridiculous. No, of course. Absolutely, I'm in favor of that rule." Like, this isn't really a partisan thing. Among the people, I should say. In Washington, it's partisan as a motherfucker because the Republicans are so bought and owned by companies like coal mining companies that they're like, fuck it, we'll do their bidding even though the American people disagree with us. But let me repeat that because it's really important. The bill quashes the Office of Surface Mining Stream Protection Rule, a regulation to protect waterways from coal mining waste that officials finalized in December. Who doesn't want to protect waterways from coal mining waste? Answer: people who are bought off by the coal industry. So President Drain the Swamp wants to keep the swamp intact and put in the swamp some toxic coal residue. That's what's basically happening with this story here. How many times have we seen the Republicans simply hoist the pirate flag? Because that's what this is. There's no other way to describe it. You have a party that is utterly unresponsive to the people. Even with the corporate Democrats, at least they throw you a bone every once in a while. At least every now and then they're like, okay, here, we did the children's health insurance program. You're welcome. Okay, here, we're actually in favor of social progress. We're on the side of gay rights. Well, thank you. Yeah, they might suck on many other issues, but every now and then they'll throw you a bone. The Republicans are just, when they get in power, you know what it is? A lot of it also is that they know that the Democrats suck at playing politics and suck at calling them out, so they get away with this kind of stuff. So you can go out there and brazenly, again, the one that my mind always goes back to is Mitch McConnell. Directly after Sandy Hook, we had this debate about gun reform, and the Democrats went from saying, we're going to ban assault weapons and ban high-capacity magazines and do a universal background check, and over time it got watered down more and more. Okay, no assault weapons ban, but still high-capacity magazine ban and universal background check. Okay, no high-capacity magazine ban, but at least a universal background check. Okay, no universal background check, but at least a watered-down background check. Then finally we had the Manchin-Toomey background check bill, which was a watered-down background check bill riddled with loopholes. And then what happened? The Republicans filibustered it, and Mitch McConnell had the nerve to go on Twitter and brag about it. He was posting memes of Harry Reid asking him, can I get this much gun reform? And it would show Mitch laughing, going, ha, 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 no, you can't get any. Dude, children were just slaughtered. They were just massacred at Sandy Hook. And you have the nerve to post something like that. Meanwhile, over 90% of the American people said, I want to do a universal background check bill. So this is an even weaker proposal. That's even more of an olive branch to the Republican Party in Washington. And they still said no. So they're willing to block shit that's overwhelmingly popular and then rub it in your face. And here's an example of that. President Trump took a picture with all the people around him who were part of crafting this new rule, smiling. Like, yeah, dirty water, wonderful, isn't this great? Drain the swamp, I'm anti-establishment. Look, I was actually talking about this yesterday with my mom. If you voted for Trump, and you voted for him for the specific drain the swamp, anti-establishment rhetoric, just admit you were wrong at this point. Like, I understand if you voted for him because he's pretty bigoted, then that's one thing, and maybe you actually still like him because he's being fairly bigoted in the policies that he's pursuing. I mean, I just told you, 100,000 National Guardsmen, they might do raids and round everybody up and ship out all the undocumented immigrants. They might do something like that, so you love him. You know, he did the seven nation ban, which was effectively an attempt at a Muslim ban among some poor Muslim nations that were bombing. Rudy Giuliani said Trump was trying to do a legal Muslim ban, so it's not just me saying it, it's him saying it. So you might like him for those reasons. Okay, I get it. So your criteria, when it comes to your criteria, Trump is largely, answering the call. So I get it if you're one of those people and you say, I still like Trump because I'm openly bigoted. Okay, great. But if you were for him because he was like, drain the swamp and I'm anti-establishment and all that stuff, just admit you were wrong. Because that's what it is. I mean, there's no other way to describe it. There's no other way around it. The one thing you give him credit on that front is axing TPP. Outside of axing TPP, the guy's the most establishment candidate I've ever seen. He's acting exactly like George W. Bush would act. He's acting exactly like Mitt Romney would act. He appointed fucking Goldman Sachs Steve Mnuchin for Treasury Secretary. What part of that is anti-establishment? No part of that is anti-establishment. The very first move he did as president was to raise taxes on the middle class. He signed an executive order that scrapped a tax break for first-time middle-class home buyers. So you can't tell me that he's draining the swamp. He's simply not draining the swamp. He's gutting what remains of Dodd-Frank. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is on the chopping block. Remember, that returned $11 billion to defrauded Americans, middle-class Americans. So you just can't make that argument. You can't make the argument when he's just got rid of a rule that keeps the waterways clean, that, well, he's doing this for the little guy. No, he's spitting in the eye of the little guy. That's what's happening. So just admit you were wrong. Just admit you were wrong. Again, look, I'm an adult, so I understand when I give credit when credit is due, as I've done multiple times, much to the dismay of more partisan people who might be in my audience. I'm not saying all of you are partisan. I'm saying some of you who are more Democratic partisans get mad at me sometimes when I give Trump credit when he deserves it, like on TPP. So I'm fair. I'll give him credit for that. Outside of that, the guy's a mess. Sad. That's what it is. So, but go ahead, Trump ball lickers, go out there and argue for this now. No, you don't understand. This rule that protects waterways from coal mining waste was actually burdensome and it was tyrannical, and Ayn Rand would disagree with it, and I read an Ayn Rand book when I was in high school, and it's the only book I read, and so therefore I'm an intellectual and I understand the world, and that's the best thing to do is to allow coal companies to just dump their waste in the waterways, and then people get sick, but it's all right because there's a free market. Shut the fuck up.